clearly my team didn't do that intro.
I was wondering.
Caitlin said, no, they're just going to mention the DOJ. Don't worry about it. Easy.
I told you it would not be a DOJ panel. We're going to have to talk about it, but it will not be the focus of that, right. I assure you. I want to start by talking about the state of the business, if you will. So you look at the last summer, the year you have pretty soft festival market. Some would say just a lot of stories about festivals having trouble. You've had a couple of high-profile flameouts, J-Lo, Black Keys, but also a lot of big successes, right? Taylor Swift, Coldplay, on and on. How has what people will pay for changed in the last couple of years, both in terms of sort of genre and venue or setting, and how are you guys responding to that, if at all?
Right. So let's go right into ticketing from DOJ.
It's not ticketing.
No, pricing. Listen, the concert business is a fabulous business to be in. I'm so proud of what we built and what we have to do every day. And it's such a passionate business. You know, sports, as you and I talked about, you're a Dodger fan. And get to a Dodger game, and whether it's a dugout seat or a courtside for the Lakers, somehow it's a badge of honor that if you spend $7,000 for a Laker ticket, it's okay. Or the Super Bowl, they brag about it. Music's very different. It's very passionate. And you may be passionate about sports, but, Sally from the Valley believes that she should see Olivia at $79 because, she broke up to her boyfriend from that music. It's deep and emotional. So we have this, this great tension that exists all the time. This artist is, you look at a stadium tour like Oasis, they're putting on a Super Bowl a week. 56 transport trucks will travel with that. So it'll be a $10 million a week traveling cost, 300 people hired, 20 million startup. So you got to fund that and finance that. Costs are going up every day like everyone else. So that artist is the great brand manager, right? These artists are CEOs. They're brilliantly trying to connect with their artists. And it's the one product in the world that's worth more the second it's sold. Generally in business, we said, well, just price it to market. But as a brand manager, if you're the artist, you can't charge $3,000 for the front row and look your fan in the face. The problem is scalpers and everyone else have done that. So it's this ongoing tension. What do you charge for the show? What's the supply demand? There's always incredible demand. You can't charge market. Now, though, the scalper's not on the street corner, that artist gets to look every day on SeatGeek and StubHub and go, oh my God, some scalper's making $4,000 a ticket. And I'm paying all the costs, meaning the artist. So it's this ongoing challenge of what do they charge that's right for their business model. 90% of what they're going to make in life is coming from the road, so it's their financial business. But where do they find that line where it's accessible? The fan feels connected to them. They don't feel like they're overgouging. And it's slowly moving up over time, and that creates a lot of the social news and tension that exists in that what is the right price that you can deliver supply demand and keep fans happy.
Right. And you guys end up sort of having to bear the brunt of it, even though, as you like to remind people, you don't actually set the pricing. And when I say you guys, I mean Ticketmaster.
Yeah, the artist being capitalist isn't really the theme, right? So we work for the artist. Our job is ultimately to put that show on, figure out how to sell and fill every seat, and yes, probably take the punch in the head when someone's mad about the price. Or we kind of live in this rinse and repeat every 10 times a year, let's call it. Just to reset the game here. 95% of shows don't sell out. You don't hear about those. Those are priced under $100. Everyone is happy they got a ticket. There's no drama. Unfortunately, those 10 times a year, when you have 10 million people trying to buy 1 million Oasis tickets, there's no nice way to tell 9 million passionate fans, sorry, the store is closed. So that creates lots of tension, and they go online and they see 10 pages of secondary tickets, and they get pissed off. So do they get mad at Ticketmaster? We must have somehow let the scalpers in, gave tickets to the scalper. Yes, absolutely. That's the first place they like to punch.
Do you think Oasis will be the biggest tour of next year?
Yeah. We got a few others coming, but probably that'll be the biggest. I mean, depending on how long the other ones are.
Right.
So we have a few more announcements to come. It's going to be a very big year next year.
Right. You brought up those 10 moments or however many on sales in a year where people get mad, right? Because the fact is selling 100,000 tickets or 80,000 tickets to 2 million people, 4 million people, whatever, it's hard.
Yep.
If you had a magic wand or you were sort of named emperor for the day and you could change ticketing however you wanted, what would you do?
Well, it's a great question. So the first challenge overall, and outside of America, there's really good scalper regulations.
Right. So Europe's very different.
Europe, most countries other than America.
Yeah.
So most of the pain I endure. So the fan is pissed off at 10:01. I couldn't get a seat. I'm mad at you. Okay, we can't help that. No, we joke in our business. We have to figure out a new business model where how we make 9 million people happy that they couldn't get served, because right now that's just not a typical business model. So we got to figure out how to make them happy in a better, transparent way. But really what pisses them off is, why is there 10 pages of scalpers selling $4,000 tickets? The system must be broken, Rapino. You made me sign up. I'm a fan. I'm willing to pay. You tell me it's sold out. But then how did they get all these tickets? Where did they come from? If you don't have that, you can deal with the first part. You can, people ultimately you can explain supply demand and the lineup. We can get better at the queue and transparency and where you sit in the queue, and we can keep working on all those ways. But it doesn't matter what we do, because they really believe the system must be broken if all these scalpers are selling tickets. Look at this week. Scalpers had $6,000 Oasis tickets the week before we even had the on sale. So, and you go to SeatGeek or StubHub, it's like Amazon pricing. It's like, buy now, limited tickets available. They don't even have tickets. It's a complete no tickets released. It's an IOU. So fans are confused. They see these tickets up front.
Wasn't their argument, correct me if I'm wrong, was that they were tickets that had gone to season ticket holders at certain venues?
Yeah, that's like, a very, very small percentage.
Yeah.
Spec selling is a huge problem. We try our damnedest with all the regulators to try to stop it. There's no enforcement. So if I had to change it, yes, I would love regulation on secondary, whether it's capped. We really believe the artist should have better control. It's frustrating with an artist.
Capped meaning that you can't resell, that you can only resell at a certain price?
Yeah. We think you should be able to resell. So the scalpers like to go to regulators and say, I can't give this ticket to my grandmother if you close it. So that's not the problem we're having. The problem is professional bots all around the world. We got hit by multi-billions of bots on the Oasis on sale.
Right.
So they're a professional $12 billion business trying to capture all those seats. Right. So it's an arms race with us trying to stop them, not let them in the door, not let them hold the tickets.
Didn't the government pass a Bots Act to address this issue?
They did, and it's, the government at its best. And they have new legislation, right? We've obviously been through the ringer, but no matter what Congress or senator we talk to, or DOJ, I say the same thing. So let me get this straight. So the scalpers can run wild for the last 12 years, unregulated, season, and that's free enterprise. And they're not, they're not the bad guy. So I just think if you ask me how to fix it, yes, that's the problem. No matter how much we do on our side, it's frustrating for the fan to spend $4,000 when Bruce Springsteen says, I only want to charge $300 for the front row. But no, the fan isn't getting it for $300. The bot is, and then they're charging $3,000. So the artist is pissed off because why doesn't he charge $3,000? Charge market, right? If you really want to fix it, just charge market. Then there's no secondary. Well, the artists aren't going to do that because they're worried about their fans.
Right.
So if they're going to sacrifice the revenue, which is unheard of for businesses, you shouldn't have a middleman that has nothing invested in the business make any money from it.
Yeah.
So we would love it regulated in some sense, cap it at 20%. Some people can make a little money. That would be the biggest part that we get the most tension on the on sale is that.
Right.
Because remember, we're spending all of our time doing this verified fan, sign up, all these things that piss people off. It's just our way to try to figure out are you a bot, a scalper, or a good guy or bad guy.
Right.
And it's never perfect, and it causes lots of drama.
Is ticketing ever enough a pain in the ass that you would just get rid of Ticketmaster and just be a concert promoter?
Some days. Saturday morning, we were waiting for Oasis, and we were so stressed because we knew the load and would be big.
Yeah.
And we have the best platform in the world. It is very hard when you have 10 billion bots hitting your system at 10 o'clock to steal your tickets. So Saturday morning, which here in LA was midnight here. So I said to my wife at night, I said, oh, fuck, I can just see I'm going to wake up and something happened. So I was up all night waiting, and I was so happy the system didn't go down. We stopped them. We got it done. Went to sleep. Thank God. This was the biggest on sale in history, the most demand in history. The system stood up. We got fans their tickets. Went on with my day, and then boom, the pissed off at the pricing started. So.
And then you can gripe that nobody writes the story about how the biggest on sale in history doesn't have any problems.
Yeah. No, you didn't write that. No.
You brought up the government, so
and I will give you credit. The reason I'm here is you do a good job. There's not a lot of great journalists in music, especially live.
Well, we'll see if you feel that way. Thank you for that. That is my cue to ask you about the DOJ. So thank you.
I'm trying to run this clock up.
No, we're gonna run past that. I'm curious because you mentioned government. I just want to read a quote.
Oh, okay.
So this is what you said after the DOJ filed the suit earlier this year. Not you personally, your company, but I assume you approved it or knew it. At bottom, we are another casualty of this administration's decision to turn over antitrust enforcement to a populist urge that simply rejects how antitrust law works. Some call this anti-monopoly, but in reality, it is just anti-business. There are a lot of people, I'd say,
Caitlin wrote that.
There are a lot of people in the business community who feel that way, right? I'm sure peers of yours, they're very frustrated with Lena Khan, very frustrated with Merrick Garland. I guess two questions. One is, what is your opinion of how they've kind of gone about or their understanding of your business? What prompts you to take such a strong stance against their suit?
When we merged 10 plus years ago, we went through it. We did a full year. DOJ approved it. Historically means you kind of passed the test. We agreed to a 10-year decree. So we were monitored for 10 years. Then we agreed to a 5-year extension. So they've been in our business for a long time. Nothing was really a substance that mattered to them. Well, when they started this investigation, after, I guess, from Jonathan Cantor, who just did a Rolling Stone interview, head of the DOJ from his basement with his guitar and his Taylor Swift bracelet, said that he started it after the Taylor Swift on sale. So it just felt like, you know, that the rules got slightly rewritten on vertical, and a lot of the stuff they talk about, the middleman, the vertical, didn't seem like traditional antitrust law. So yeah. We think, listen, at the end of the day, everyone thinks they're innocent. We believe that we built a great business. We're a 2% margin business, so we must be the dumbest monopoly alive. We give 90+% of the door to the artist, unlike any other business. So yes, are we vertical? Of course we're vertical. Every promoter from history has been vertical because that's how you pay the bills when you're 2% margin. You got to own you try to own
2% margins on the promotion business, right? The ticketing margins are better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's to pay the artist, to be a promoter, it's a 2% business. So most promoters, AEG, Golden Voice, everyone, they're going to own the festival, they're going to own the venue, they're going to own some ticketing. You have to have a vertical revenue stream to fund the cost. So anyways, we think ultimately we'll